Hey, what's good YouTube? Antiyami back with another video, and today we're doing the Spellbook Dogmaktika combo guide and hand test. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna guys show you the basic combo of this deck, which is a 2-card combo with Spellbook of Prophecy, and we're gonna open up with Souls. This is like the bread and butter of the combo. You always want to see like both these cards in your starting hand because they're like obviously like the most powerful. There's no really 1-card combos in this deck. There are only like 1-card combos when you kind of like brick per se. But I believe for the rest of this video, I'm going to show you guys test hands so you guys can understand the deck. Because there's a lot of 3-card combos and very weird scenarios where you can actually kind of make some really good, cool plays based on the hand. This deck is not really straightforward, so I'm gonna probably show off test hands for the rest of the vid, and yeah. But guys, I apologize for taking so long to make this video because I could not find this card for the life of me. And can you guys believe that this card is 35 bucks? Can you believe that? That's crazy. 35 bucks for a common, you know, only because of Ready Fusion. But we finally got it, so now I want to show you guys this beautiful deck in action, and so you guys can get a good understanding. Now, no, in the future, this deck will be updated dramatically because I have not played this deck in this format. This build has been like months old at this point now, so I do need to update it. I just haven't been playing with it, but it's still a really fun deck, and I love it dearly. And it's Spellbook, bro. Like, I used to play Spellbooks back in the day at their prime, and it was fantastic. Well, all right, without further ado, let's get into the combo video. So, start with the bread and butter. We're gonna normal summon Spellbook Magician. He's gonna activate his effect, and we're going to search out the legendary secrets. Oh yeah, by the way, if you guys see multicolored cards in my deck, just note that I didn't feel like sleeving a new set. So if you see different sleeves, I'm not trying to like stack or anything, but just note that I'm lazy. And when I shuffle, I'm not gonna like pay attention to the sleeving anyway. So just bear with me. I don't want to get roasted in the comments saying like, oh, you stacked or whatever. I'm just lazy because I don't care to like de-sleeve and re-sleeve. So anyway, sorry. After that, we're going to activate the Magician Souls effect, special summon, and we always normally dump Maximus. And this is kind of why we play double Maximus in this deck, because one is always like for the dump father. This is like the main boss monster of the deck anyway. You want to resolve Maximus so you can get into your Schism, and Schism is like really strong versus your opponent. So that's kind of like the main gimmick of this deck is. You don't have like strong invoke plays to set on like a mecha button gate or anything like that, so you have to kind of rely on the Schism on this in this deck, which is why it's not as good as the invoke Dogmaktika Shaddolls. But anyway, this is a common mistake with a lot of players. Do not activate secrets. Activating secrets here is a misplay. You want to make sure that you link into 2 here first, and I explain why. We want to go into Crowley here. Crowley's effect will activate. We're going to add knowledge, we're going to add a life, and we're going to add a masters here. And the reason why you want to activate like this in this order, because you can search this out without searching out Spellbook with using the secrets here. And if you hit this on RNG, then you get like a double search, and I'll demonstrate how that looks when I'm done with this combo, so you can see the difference on how like strong it is to do this first versus this second, right? So I would add these 3 if you don't have none of these 3 cards in your hand. If one of these 3 cards are in your hand, and the other one will be a fate here, okay? So we're gonna roll a dice. This is gonna be 1 2 3 4 5 6, and we hit a 2, so we're gonna add knowledge. Activate secrets here. Secrets is gonna search us. Let's search for knowledge. And the reason why we play knowledge in this deck is fuel for fate, basically. So like whenever you always do like a combo or whatever with Spellbooks, you'll always end on 3 Spellbook cards at the minimum in your graveyard, and that's always going to set up for your full power fate, which is always amazing. So we're going to activate, sorry, I'm skipping steps here. We're going to activate Masters here. Masters, you control a spellcaster, reveal knowledge, And we are going to search out life. With that, we're going to activate life, pay cost, reveal. We're going to banish souls here. I always usually banish the souls here because there's always a play later down the line where you can actually sing Toad to the graveyard to add back Spellbook of Prophecy. So we're going to always banish like this. It depends on the hand, you know, whatever. But for the most part, you always want to banish souls because you don't going to revive souls anymore. In my prior builds, you could, but in this, you don't. So we're going to activate this. Special summon Maximus. After that, we're going to activate Knowledge. Knowledge is going to send this card to the graveyard, and then we're going to draw two random cards, right? And these are going to be the 2 random cards here. They're tokens. So, draw 2 cards. And we're going to now trigger Maximus Effect. Maximus Effect is going to dump the Ash Dragon and the Alkalone. Normally, that's what you always dump. And then we're going to trigger the effect of Alkalone. Alkalone is going to search out for the Schism. And then we're going to discard a card. Let's just say we discarded one of those. Doesn't really matter. And then we set the Schism. After that, moving on to the end phase, we're going to activate Titanic Class effect, special summon Ecclesia, and then we're going to search out our Hanegate, which is going to be our Fluttery. So, yep, this is your main bread and butter combo. You really want to make sure that you always play it just like this because it gives you the maximum amount of potential for starting off. And then remember that this is a 2-card combo. So remember, subtract 2 cards. This is 1 card that you drew off of, so it's an extra plus. And then this is another plus. So this kind of replaces your 2 cards that you played. And then you still have 5 cards. So, like, it pluses a lot if you play it correctly. It's very, very cool, very important. So, anyway, let's go ahead and move on to a... I kind of want to show off what happens if you activate Secrets first, and then show you how awkward that looks so you guys can understand what that looks like. This is, like, in my opinion, considered a misplay. And something that you really need to take advantage of whenever you're playing this deck. Because this deck is really hard to play optimally. Like, the pathing you choose is going to affect multiple things. So, let's go ahead and reset the starters. And I'll show off the misplay. So, normal summon, Blue Boy. We're going to add Secrets. And let's say we still special summon Magician Souls, you know, yada, yada, yada. And we're going to dump the Maximus here. And then let's say, oh, let's activate Secrets here. What are you adding here? Because now let's say this is the only Spellbook card in your hand. What are you technically adding? So let's say we add here, right? And then we're a Synchro for 2. Synchro. We're going to Link for 2 for Crowley. And then now we're going to trigger Crowley's effect. Now, with this, instead of this being Secrets, it's a lot harder for this card to be really flexible. And if we choose, let's say we'll choose this, and then this, and now we have to choose Fate here. And the reason why this is really bad is because if it hits these 2 cards, I guess that's fair enough. But look, if it hits Life, yeah, you still get the Maximus on the board. You still get the draw 2. But what's missing in the graveyard? We're missing 1 more Spellbook card. So if you happen to draw into a Fate, your Fate is going to be missing a Spellbook card. So it's just funny how like something like activating cards in the wrong order can just, you know, mess up your entire combo. So that's what happens if you add that. If you add Masters, I think this is the best scenario because, yeah, now you can just kind of repeat what you did before and you pretty much get lucky. We add this because we copy Secrets, and then everything looks the same. But now it went from a 100% chance to a 33% chance, if that makes sense. And if you add Fate, well, these 2 are still in the deck, and the only spell card in your graveyard right now is Secrets. So now it's like you're forced to activate Secrets to send this to the graveyard, draw 2, and you better pray that you get some kind of extender or something cool, because if not, you misplayed. So that's the difference between activating those cards in the wrong order. So you got to make sure that you have very good practice with this deck, because it's funny how like just one little misorder can cause your deck to go floppish, you know. So floppish, is that a word? Yeah, floppish. All right, cool, sounds great. All right, for the rest of the video, we're gonna move on to test hands. I will probably stack some scenarios so you guys can see other tech options, basically like why I play these guys, why do I play the Red Fusion, and I think what's most importantly, where's the other weirdo, Theo? Where's Theo? I want to show that boy off. I guess I can add this because I added this card too in this build. These cards right here. Now, if Ariel was a spellcaster, holy moly, this card would have been in day one. But I was hesitant with this card because it's not a spellcaster. So you can't just like normal summon Ariel, use where is it? Knowledge. And then like draw 2, then banish 3 from the graveyard. I wish you can do that, but unfortunately she's a psychic. But it's okay because she's a level 4, and trust me, that will come up whenever we play Dweller. Because in our extra deck, if you guys haven't seen my deck profile for this deck, make sure you do check it out. It's the last video I uploaded. But yeah, we can make Dweller in this deck, which is really cool. And I explain why I'm playing Dweller. And it's just weird because it's my only XYZ, or besides Toad, but we don't summon Toad in this deck because it's impossible. Reason why we play Dweller is because, think about it, remember when you go against like the mirror match? I consider like invoked the mirror match because, you know, it's basically a mirror match. Or let's say you go against Drytrons, or you go against decks that is ready for your Maximus. If you make a Dweller going first, you can actually detach Dweller and then resolve Maximus, and Maximus will can dump 2 cards from your extra deck. And if your opponent decides to dump whatever they decided to side in versus like Maximus, it doesn't resolve. Fun fact. So that's kind of why I got the idea for Dweller, and plus he's an extra deck card, so you can actually special summon to use extenders and stuff. And Ready Fusion is here because if we open any of the level 4 monsters, this is always like, you know, a good target. And like if you open up Maximus in this position, you can actually detach this guy, and then if Maximus happens to be in your hand, you can actually go off like this. So hopefully we'll get a combo where this like resolves, but I'll make sure to like stack it to make sure that you guys can see every inch of potential in this deck and every weird line, so you guys can understand like my thought process and how all that works. Okay, all right, without further ado, let's get into the test hands. All right, so for the number 1 test hand here, we have Knowledge, Flutter Leaves, Ecclesia Souls, and Spellbook with Prophecy. All right, kind of lucky because now we got these 2 starters, which is always really, really strong. And let's kind of walk through this hand and thought process. So a lot of times when you open up the Knight, he can be an extender because you want to go into your Crowley as soon as possible normally. Or you can use him to go into a Selene, and Selene can actually extend a lot of combos and different plays and things of that nature. So that's really strong. So a lot of times if you open like one of these starters here, and then you open up like one of the Dogmaktika cards, you can like play. It's really cool. So like 2 monsters is always almost like a combo or something. So anyway, we're gonna go into the common play here, except for now we have actual 5-card hand. So our plays may be a little bit different because we can actually overextend it based on what we have already currently in our hand, right? So anyway, let's go into the basic combo because you do have the standard combo. And remember what I said, summon souls, activate the effect. You always kind of want to do it in this order. It doesn't matter if you summon souls first or magician first, it just doesn't matter because the same thing happens. We're going to dump the Maximus here, Maximus. Then we're going to go into a Crowley. Crowley's effect will activate. And since we already have Knowledge here, we can actually add Fate. So Fate is life. So pretty much the same thing. We roll it a 1. So this is 1. We're going to add Fate here, which is probably the worst one because you can just search it and thin your deck out if you hit the other 2 cards. So anyway, activate secrets. I mean, actually, it doesn't really matter because you have secrets. Search out Masters. Masters, gonna activate his effect, reveal whatever. Yeah. It's probably best to reveal knowledge here because you're gonna resolve this and you want to keep Fate a secret, so don't reveal this. Here we're gonna activate this, reveal knowledge, special summon, banish souls. Then we're gonna activate knowledge. This is basically the bread and butter combo. Draw 2. We're not doing a deck test, so Call by the Grave and Nadir Servant. Nadir Servant. Crazy. There's a lot of crazy starters in this deck. Now this hand just got a lot cleaner. So remember where we just activate Maximus effect and then go off? I think we're pretty much done with the extra deck plays here. I don't think I want to go into a Celine here. Normally, a lot of times, if I open up Instant Fusion, which I'm going to show off an Instant Fusion combo, and then I'm going to show off a Ready Fusion combo. If you get that kind of situation, you can actually make a Celine here to revive back your Millennium Eyes, and then this can be like a monster negate, and on your turn, you can put this in attack mode and attack. And it's a once per turn effect, and the attack and defense does stack. And if you suck up like a hand trap, they can't use that hand trap because it's like underneath Millennium Eyes. So that hand trap can never, if they open up 2, they can't use it. And it's just really like pressurous because this with like Schism and like a whole bunch of other stuff like Fate, like this card just gets like stronger and stronger. It's so scary. Since we have Knight in our hand, we can just hold that. We're gonna special summon Ecclesia with her own effect. We're going to activate her effect. I say here, let's search out the punishment. Funny enough, I can hope Nadir Servant here. There's times where I know in most decks you want to resolve Nadir Servant as quickly as possible, but sometimes in this deck you can hold it because we already got like pretty much full combo here, and this could be like extreme follow-up, and it's just really strong. So activate Maximus effect. We're going to dump the 2 standard cards. Activate Alkalone's effect. Alkalone's effect is going to grab Schism, and we can discard a card here. And actually, if you want to discard Schism, you can. Yeah, let's get rid of Schism. Since we had the Nadir Servant, let's go ahead and activate Nadir Servant. And Nadir Servant is going to dump. Let's just dump Construct here, right? And then we're going to search. We can search for more follow-up here. Let's search for another Ecclesia. Just for follow-up, right? And then, or if you want to, you can actually Nadir Servant into a Toad. It depends on what, it really does depends on the hand. It all depends on what you want. If you want the Ecclesia follow-up, you can do that. What you can still technically do. So if you don't want to get rid of, like, let's say we want to keep the, let's just say we get rid of Call by the Grave. Let's just like say, right? We activate Nadir Servant, keep the Construct, and then send Toad here. Totally awesome will activate and add back your Blue Boy. And then that could be follow-up. So you have like these 2 cards as follow-up, and the rest of these 4 cards are interruption. So you can do that if you want to get rid of Call by the Grave. Or like, again, if you have like a multiple card in your hand, like I wouldn't get rid of Call by the Grave. Here I'll go for the like the window player or the construct play, you know. But let's just say like if you want to get rid of it, you could, right? And this is like a way better follow-up push. So anyway, let's just say we went with this play because it looks more flashier, right? So these are like your follow-up cards. Set these 3 cards. In phase, we're going to activate the effect Titaniclad. Titaniclad is going to special summon a card that looks really weird, right? Adin. So if you already activate your Ecclesia's effect, and then like to say, for example, you already have like Knighted in your hand, your next follow-up play is actually using Adin. And if you guys don't know what Adin's effect is, he has similar effects to Dogmaktika Ecclesia, where it can't be destroyed by battle by cards from the extra deck. And if you control a card from the extra deck, or if there's an extra deck monster on the field, you can actually special summon it just like Ecclesia. And his effect is that like he has like a floating effect. If he gets destroyed by battle or card effects, you can actually special summon 1 Dogmaktika monster from your deck. And like say for example, again, this is your hand here. Let's say, for example, like your opponent Regekis you or something like that, like a Dark Hole or, you know, whatever. And you're like, oh no, my monsters. Oh no. Then Adin's effect will activate. And then you can actually special summon Ecclesia. Ecclesia's effect will activate. And let's say, for example, we can add just another Maximus here. You know, it's whatever. Or you can special summon that Maximus and hopefully this card will stick. You know, if you want more protection like that. Just depends, but yeah. And then now you have another card for follow-up. And that's why Adin is so good, because if he's on the board, it's really hard to not trigger his effect to get even more follow-up, right? So that's why I play him. And Theo, honestly, if you guys really care, you guys can play like double Adin if you guys want. But I play Theo because he's another name. So if you draw like both of these cards, you can actually extend into like some really cool plays. Like you can normal summon Theo, go into Artemis, and then special summon and go into Crowley. Versus where if you drew into like double Adin here, you couldn't really make that play. So that's kind of the reason why like he's here. His effect comes up very rarely, but it does come up at times. And he can actually swing for game because he could become a 24 beater. And under the Knighted, he becomes like a 29 beater. So, I mean, it comes up, but very rarely. But that's kind of the reason why I play these two cards, because they're two different names, and it can be used for extension, which is very, very, very good. So, yeah. Again, sorry that it's like all over the place here, but there's a lot to talk about with this deck, and there's like so little time to talk about it, because there's a lot of different like combos and different plays. But hopefully that makes a lot of sense. So, moving on to the second test hand. We got our decks all shuffled up here. I might actually rig this hand a little bit so I can show you off like the Instant Fusion play and other things like that. Just for testing sakes, because I want to show off all like the cool tech that this deck can have. So I actually might do one more test hand, one with Ready Fusion, the other one with Instant Fusion. And then maybe one probably with like a bad hand, so you guys can kind of see like the cool like plays you can do. Okay, so let's see. So this is pretty interesting. So we have we have Master, Secrets, Strike, and then we have Knowledge here with the Dogmaktika Ecclesia. So this is pretty interesting. So now we have Ecclesia plus Blue Boy, which I probably could have went over because this is like a standard combo. So, but we're gonna go over it here. So let's go into Blue Boy here. He's very important. He's basically the only normal summon in the deck. You always want to try to normal summon him as quickly as possible. Normal summon Blue Boy. And based on our hands here, because we already have the Masters here, and then we already have Knowledge, so I think the best bet here, since we don't have access to Souls, we can't dump Maximus, but it doesn't mean that we can't, right? So I think here, to be very safe, we're going to add Fate. After that, we're going to activate the effect of Masters. Now, there's two things you can do here. You can actually link this card off into an Artemis, and then you can actually special summon Ecclesia's effect, and you can do two things. One, you can search out the Maximus here, which actually, I think I'm going to do this anyway. It's very good to hold your Spellbook cards after your secrets, so you can extend and see what kind of cards you can have, because if you can resolve this, you can draw into more cards, and it'll probably change up your end board, right? So you can choose to activate the effect, or you can choose not to. It depends on how you play, but I think since we already have enough Spellbook cards, I will only not activate this card's effect if you only have like one Spellbook card. But when you have multiple already, you can activate the effect, right? So let's go ahead and activate the effect. We're going to add the Maximus. Here we can honestly activate Knowledge. Knowledge, send this to the grave, draw 2. And look at that, we drew 2 souls. And I'm probably going to talk about some of the cards that you can discard with souls. The number one card you can discard off with souls is like multiple Spellbook cards you already have. So if you have like double secrets, you can double secrets. But if you open up Schism is like a dead card going first for the most part. So you can always dump Schism and then use Maximus effect to dump a Alkalone or Construct or whatever to the graveyard to add it back. And it's like a free plus. Since we already use a Glacius effect, we can't go into the X deck anymore, but that's not a problem because the deck can just do a lot of stuff without it. Here, I don't know if I would special summon Souls here. I think you can hold this because you usually use Souls as like an extender card, kind of like going to Celine or, you know, Crowley, whatever. But since we already kind of broke the rule of that, let's just hold it, right? You know, it can be a really cool follow-up. And I don't think there's anything in my hand I want to discard, so we can hold Souls for now. Now, since we have Artemis in the graveyard, we can activate special summon Maximus. And sorry if my webcam's in the way. I'm trying to make this work as best as possible. And then we don't have to activate Maximus effect. We can actually just go into Masters. Masters is going to reveal. You can reveal either one of these if you want. If you want to search, you can search. If you want to draw two, you can draw two. Just depends. Options in this deck is limitless. You can do whatever you want. But normally the times I want to go for Secrets because I want to make sure that I get access to Fate. And then, since we have an Nadir Servant, we can do the same combo where we activate Maximus effect, send these two, and then Alkalone's going to trigger. Alkalone's going to add the Schism here. And we are going to discard. Actually, if you want to, you can discard Souls. You know, if you really, really want to. I just realized we have double Fate in our hand. So you can actually just draw two, or you can add. Let's say, for example, we'll still add. We'll just add this, right? I think here you actually just go for the draw two. You can send this to the graveyard. Let's actually do that. Send this to the graveyard. Random cards. Okay, well that's not great. That's why I like to go for the search, because sometimes you just draw like really interesting. I think that's gonna pretty much be it for this. You already guys know. You just kind of like set your interruption here. Then these cards can be for follow-up for the next turn, and then you act or trigger your Tantanaclad. Tantanaclad is going to, since you already activate Ecclesia's effect, you could either add Knighted to your hand, or you can special summon Adin. And Adin could be free follow-up and free pressure based on what your opponent is playing. 9 times out of 10, I'll probably add the Knighted because it's another free interruption, and that can, you know, mess up your opponent's plays. And plus, you got the Fate, the Strike, and then the Schism. Like, that's really strong to, like, stop. So, and plus, you already have the Servant for follow-up. And then if we draw for turn here, we have a Droplets. So, not too bad here. Not too bad. So let's go ahead and show you guys what it looks like to have Instant Fusion. Again, this deck takes a lot of practice. I would recommend you guys just go into like Dueling Book and go into solo mode and just look at mini combinations, because there's a lot. Like, you can do a lot of good things. Every hand is basically playable if you play it correctly. This deck doesn't really brick. It's like a 90% chance of you always playing, which is amazing. Again, sorry for the different color sleeves. Oh, look at that. We open up Instant Fusion. That's cool. All right. And I'll show off the Radiant Fusion after this test hand. All right. So let's go ahead. We are going to activate Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion, if you open this card, you always play it. Like, you don't, that's the first thing you always play. You always play it. Because now you want to be protected by hand traps. Your worst hand trap in this deck is Droll. Followed by Droll, it's Dimension Shifter. Like, those are your two worst hand traps you just don't ever want to see. So you want to get this immediately. Next, we play Secrets. Secrets is going to add our standard Blue Boy here. No more summon. Activate the effect. We're going to add Masters, because as long as you have another Spellbook card in your hand, you can always add Masters to get another card in the graveyard. And then I wouldn't activate this yet because we might actually go into a Crowley here. And since we have this card right here, we're going to actually go into a Celine play. So we're going to extend with Adin here. Special summon. Let's go into a Link 2, which is your Crowley. And then Crowley's effect will activate. Look at your hand. We already have a Masters and a Knowledge. So we can actually go into our Fate here. We can add life here. And then, since we already have both these cards in our hands, let's add follow-up. So let's add secrets. Obviously, we don't want to hit the secrets, but if we do hit the secret, it is follow-up. So we hit a 2, so that's fate. Add this, use Master's Effect, and we can add this. And which is also cool too, since this is a spellcaster, you can actually just use this effect to reborn this. The only bad thing is it'll be in attack mode if you use this, but at the same time, you know, that doesn't really matter. You're not going to get OTK because that's an attack mode. So anyway, here, since we have 3 spells in the graveyard, you could go into a Celine, or you can kind of like push for more plays. So like you can actually go into this, banish Blue Boy, special summon Adin, and we can use knowledge to send this to the graveyard, draw 2. Oh yeah, I forgot to shuffle. Sorry, I was like secrets. I don't think I shuffled. Let me go ahead and shuffle real quick. Draw 2. Now we got Dogmaktika. Oh my god. Oh my god. Drawing 2 in this deck is so busted. I love it. And since like you're sending this card, it's already nets you an advantage of a monster. You just pot of greed. Like this deck just pot of greeds, and it's so insane. A searchable pot of greed at that. It's so insane. So in this position, since we have 5, and with Celine, you want to do multiples of 3 because she only gets her effects in multiples of 3. Since we only have 5, I wish there was another way we can get on a spell in the graveyard, but I guess that doesn't really matter because the hand wasn't really like super spell heavy. So it doesn't matter. So we're gonna go link into Celine. Special summon Celine. She has 5 counters. Remove 3 to special summon back out. Million Eyes Restrict. So now he's gonna be on the field forever until your opponent gets rid of it. Next, we can actually special summon Ecclesia. Ecclesia effect can actually, I don't think we should, because we already got the Maximus here. The other card I could think of is adding this. I mean, if you want to add a Theo, but Theo doesn't really do anything going first. And we already committed to our extra deck play. Actually, if you really want to, since we have Maximus, we can special summon this card, not activate the effect, overlay into the Dweller. And remember what I said about Dweller plus Maximus? Special summon. We can banish the Crowley here. And we can activate the effect of Dweller. We're going to detach. Let's detach. We'll detach Adin, as it matters here, but. And then we're going to activate the effect of Maximus. I'm going to just search out the Schism here. We dump the 2 cards. The 2 main boys. And then activate Titaniclag's effect. Or sorry, the Alkalone's effect. Now, this is where it gets really tough sometimes because you don't know what to discard. Honestly, it's up to you. If you want to try to go for the Schism play or you don't think Schism is worth it here, you can just like not go for Titaniclad. You can probably go for something else. Not Titaniclad. You go into a different card like Alkalone or something. Like you can go into, if you have Blue Boy in the graveyard, you can go for Totally Awesome. You can always dump this card. It's always really cool. But I mean, I think it's always worth going for Schism because Schism's busted. So let's get rid of the punishment here. Again, it looks really strange to discard punishment, but Fate is really busted. Like this card is busted. Non-targeting banish, so busted. So we're gonna set these 2, and then move on to end phase here. End phase. Since we didn't activate Ecclesia's effect, we can go ahead and special summon Ecclesia. Activate Ecclesia's effect to search out Night. And look at this. Like, look at this. So let's count the interruptions. You have this as an interruption. This is going to shut off the graveyard. Maximus is thick. This card is hard to get rid of. You have Fate, Schism, and then you have Knighted. Like, this hand is crazy. And if you happen to get like 6 spells in the graveyard, this could also reborn your window, which is really cool. So let's say, for example, we had 6 cards, or 6 spells in the grave when we summon Celine, because it does come up, right? So, let's say, like, for example, they kill your window. If that happens, we will summon over here. If that was the case, you can actually bring back the window, and then they had to deal with 2 windows on the same turn. And then also with that too, if this dies and you want to bring it back, you can bring this back too. Same thing with Ecclesia. Since we already have an Ecclesia in the graveyard, we can actually just like special summon this and then activate her effect on your turn, and then add more cards. Like, Celine is so crazy. And then also, if you make Celine on your turn, like going second, whatever, then it could just be a free access code talker. Like, if you don't like remove Celine, you die. You know, so like that's why this deck is so like scary, because it looks like it can't really OTK. But trust me, if you leave too many things on the field, like you just have infinite plays. So for example, let's say, you know, like this was the case, and you know, you special summon Knight because whatever, you detach this, so like no graveyard for you, like you suck up a monster, you faded something, you know, and then you draw for turn. Oops. And you drew into a secrets. Secrets will activate. And we're gonna add Spellbook of Blue Boy. Now, a lot of the times, if you don't want to add this and you already have like a full board or whatever, I mean, I guess you can always add it. It doesn't really matter because we're gonna link off anyway. So what we can do is we can link these 2 off, go into Access Code Talker, and then if this has like an equipment, you can actually use it for attack, and then we can normal summon Blue Boy, and then, you know, go into Fate, and then you can remove something else on board, so you can make sure you can swing for game. You know, you don't want to play into a Mirror Force. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, but anyway, yeah. So that's with that. So I was gonna show off like a Ready Fusion combo, but I don't really think that's really necessary. Like I said, Ready Fusion is an extender, right? So I don't think it's really that. I mean, it's pretty obvious what you do with Ready Fusion. So I'm just happy to show off like the Instant Fusion, because the Instant Fusion plays are pretty nuts. So just happy to show that off. But if you had like Instant Fusion, let's do one more, I guess. We'll show off the Instant Fusion, and let's just open up with Instant Fusion or Ready Fusion, because you know, it's just basically another extender that can go into Dweller. So let's draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, this is our first bad hand. Ooh, yeah, this hand is gross. Let's go. Okay, so anyway, Instant Fusion or Ready Fusion. I keep saying Instant Fusion. Ready Fusion into this, special summon, normal summon, go into Dweller, and since Ariel's is a water, Dweller gets 500 more attack, so this is a 22 attack Dweller. And I guess you'll set this and pray to God that you don't die. Hopefully you're going against like Phantom Knights or something, so you just kind of like shut off the graveyard for the turn, or Drytrons or whatever, and then you're pretty much guaranteed to live with that in mind. And hopefully we'll draw for turn, pray to God it's something good, and Souls is decent. Yeah, Souls is pretty good, so you special summon Souls, activate the effect of Souls. So let's say like Dweller died for some reason, like, oh no, my Dweller. So we top deck of Souls here. We're gonna go for Maximus, and you guys already know the beat, right? So I don't have any Spellbook cards in the graveyard, so this is dead. So when we're gonna do this, we're gonna activate this. We're gonna banish this because it's a spellcaster, special summon Maximus, and then we can actually activate Soul's effect to send these 2 cards to the graveyard. Draw 2. Oh, we also have strike. Let's say we just use strike, you know. So draw 2. Again, not the greatest of draws, but it's funny because Schism is live because of our Ariel. So, you know, we can like link this away for Artemis. And we have access to now Construct and Winda because Souls is a dark. And if you don't want to go into a should all monster play with Maximus, you can actually just go into this, which is really cool. So like actually Maximus we can go into Totally Awesome. This is like jokes. I would never do this, but you'll go into these two. And then Totally Awesome can add back your Ariel. But you don't want to do that because you want to keep your Schism alive. But I'm going to do it because it's funny, right? So, and then, you know, maybe apply some pressure, maybe enter battle phase, set 2, which you're going to set these two. And then we end phase search this, special summon Ecclesia, and then we're going to add Knight. So even though we had a bad hand, I feel like it was still playable because I feel like Dweller plus Strike, you know, is really freaking good. And you should be able to live in most matchups. Maybe you probably died to like Sword Souls or something, but you know, it all depends, right? But if you happen to live, like this can be a board that can start making some plays here, you know what I'm saying? So like if this, you know, they can't deal with those, you know, droplets and the Schism and the Knighted, then we draw another card here. Souls, special summon Souls. Plays are endless, bro. Plays are freaking endless. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about the deck. If you guys want me to do like more tutorials, or maybe I can like show off some replays and stuff with this deck. It's pretty nuts. But yeah, let me know because I really love this deck. Activate the effect, send these two, draw 2. Normal summon. And then we can still activate Maximus effect to send a Shadow monster to bring back Schism. That's why it's so free. And then, yeah, you guys get the point. Yeah, the Dear Servant, like, you guys get the point. The deck is really freaking consistent. It's very fun. And it's to the point where it's, like, it's so kind of, like, complicated and it has, like, a high ceiling where it's just, like, it's endless fun. But, yeah. With that said, guys, I think that's going to be the end of the video. If you guys like the video, again, leave a comment down below. Like, comment, and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh!-ish content. And I'll also do, like, Nintendo stuff and things of that as well. But I'll try to get more back into more Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff so I can hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, guys, with that said, I think we're done. And have a great day.